All right, let's jump right in. You know when you hear government memo, you probably think of something super dry, right? Like boring, bureaucratic paperwork. But here's the thing. Every so often, one of these documents drops, and it's not just a memo, it's literally a map to the future.
And that's exactly what we're talking about today. I mean, what if a simple agreement between two federal agencies was secretly laying the groundwork for a complete overhaul of our entire financial system? It's really not as crazy as it sounds. This memo we're looking at, it is that blueprint, and we're going to break it down piece by piece. And this quote just nails it. This Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, between the SEC and the CFTC, that's the folks who regulate stocks and commodities. It's not about making tiny little tweaks. It's about installing entirely new regulatory plumbing. So today, let's follow that blueprint and see exactly what kind of future it's building.
Okay, so to really get the scale of this change, we've got to look at the massive upgrade this new blueprint makes possible. Think of our current financial system kind of like a bunch of separate, winding country roads, while this memo is the plan for a single, high-speed financial superhighway.
So take a look at this. It really paints a picture of the before and after. On the left, that's pretty much our world right now. You've got these separate markets, silos for things like stocks and commodities, and they just don't talk to each other very well. You know when you sell a stock and it takes a couple of days for the money to actually land in your account? That's slow settlement. And compliance, it's a total headache, all manual. But now look at the right. This is where we're going. Integrated digital markets, instant settlement. And the coolest part? Compliance is just baked right into the code. This isn't some minor tweak. It's a complete teardown and rebuild of how money moves.
So how do you even begin to build this new superhighway? Well, you start by defining the new rules of the road. This next part is all about the new components of this financial plumbing and how they're being designed for a digital-first world from the ground up. The very first rule you have to figure out is simple. Who's in charge of what? For years, the crypto space has been stuck in what people call jurisdiction confusion. But this MOU, it finally starts drawing some clear lines in the sand. As you can see, things like tokenized stocks, that's SEC territory. But tokenized commodities, like gold, that's likely going to be the CFTC. This kind of clarity is absolutely essential for innovators to build with any kind of confidence.
And this is huge. What regulators are saying here is that they're not going to try to shove a square peg into a round hole. They're basically admitting that digital assets are a whole different animal and need a fit-for-purpose rulebook. You just can't regulate a token that zips around the world instantly with the same old rules you made for a paper stock certificate. This is a massive green light for innovation.
Which brings us to the engine of this new system, machine-readable finance. The idea is so simple, but it's revolutionary. What if compliance wasn't something you had to worry about after a transaction? What if it was just automatically checked before it could even happen? We're talking about building the rules directly into the code of the financial system itself.
This just illustrates the power of that idea perfectly. In this new world, trying to make an illegal transaction is basically like writing a bad line of code. It's not a crime that gets punished later, it's a syntax error that the system just sees and refuses to run. The violation is stopped before it ever even happens.
Okay, so that's all the theory, right? That's the blueprint. But is anyone actually, building with these new tools? The answer is a big yes. So in this section, let's look at a real company, AppApropro, and how they are putting all these principles into practice as we speak.
So AppPro's whole mission is to be the trust layer for this new financial world. They're not a bank, they don't hold your money, that's what non-custodial means. Instead, they're a system of record that uses blockchain to create undeniable, verifiable proof that legal and financial stuff happened exactly as it was supposed to. This is precisely the kind of infrastructure that this new regulatory clarity makes possible.
So how do they actually do it? Well, let's use sound money, like gold, as an example. First, the physical gold gets put into a secure vault. Then, AppApropro creates this standardized digital record. You can think of it like a digital birth certificate for that gold that has all its important info. And finally, they mint a special kind of token that acts as a compliance wrapper, literally encoding the rules directly onto the digital asset itself. They've effectively turned a physical bar of gold into a fully compliant, programmable digital asset.
And here you see that idea in action. They call it syntactical trust. This is that syntax error concept we just talked about, but now it's a real product. So if someone who hasn't passed their background check tries to receive one of these tokens, the system doesn't just flag it. Nope, it stops it cold. The transaction simply fails. Compliance isn't a suggestion anymore. It's like a law of physics built into their system.
And this is the plumbing they've actually built to make all of this happen. You've got Notary Chain, which is where human notaries come in to provide that legal validation. Then there's Secure Bank Box, which is like a digital vault where all the proof is stored. And finally, tokenized trust receipts, which are basically digital receipts that prove a specific lawful thing happened. Every single piece works together to create an institutional-grade, verifiable audit trail that regulators can actually use and trust.
All right, this brings us to our last section, and honestly, maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. What does all of this actually mean for the future? Well, this new regulatory clarity isn't just some technical update. It's creating a massive strategic opportunity for innovators. This is the big takeaway right here. This MOU is a fundamental signal. The whole era of regulatory uncertainty, of will they or won't they ban it, it's coming to an end. Instead of trying to kill crypto, they're building the framework to bring it into the very core of the financial system for good. And that creates what investors call an asymmetric advantage. The risk of building this compliant financial plumbing is getting lower and lower now that the rules are becoming clear. But the potential reward, the upside of owning that plumbing before the big institutions all pile in, it's astronomically high. Early builders like AP Pro are positioning themselves in an incredibly powerful spot.
So the crucial point is this. For years, everyone has looked at compliance as just a cost, right? A burden, something that slows down innovation. But in the world this MOU is creating, that idea is completely flipped on its head. Building a system that's transparent, auditable, and provably compliant is no longer a defensive move. It's the ultimate competitive advantage.
And this right here is the emerging global standard. Automation without discretion. It means systems that execute rules perfectly every time, with no human bias, no errors, no intervention. This is what regulators want, it's what big institutions need, and it's exactly what the new financial plumbing we've been talking about is designed to deliver. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. We've seen the blueprint, we've seen the new rules, we've seen the tools that are being built right now. So if verifiable proof and automated compliance really are the keys to winning in the next era of finance, then the most important question isn't if this future is coming, it's who is already out there building it today.